Hey, a lot of folks were interested in what I was doing as far as a city crawl for some campaigns I just launched. So I want to start by saying the kind of tech stack that I have going for this is a little weird, and it works for me, but also these are a lot of tools that I have because I am publishing RPGs. So I don't really expect most people to have all of these things. So this is more of an inspiration than a how-to, I guess, because to do it this way is kind of insane. But let's jump into what I got going on as far as the city crawl. Okay, so what you're looking at right here is Obsidian. I have mentioned it in previous videos and a lot of emails. It is my go-to for making my notes and running my games and creating new RPG stuff. I absolutely love it, and I don't know how I lived without it. So I am using a plugin with it called Leaflet. I have a few plugins going, but Leaflet is going to be the one that's important here because it allows me to import an image and also to add little markers on it, points. I'm sure there's a word I'm not thinking of right now. But anyway, each of these little points links to another note. So I'm using this also, if I go back a second, take me where I go. Yes, okay, so this is, I also have a hex crawl going here as well. And so this is the continent the players are currently on. And you can see there's a bunch of little spots here. So I can just mouse over and it gives me the quick info of what I have listed there. If I click on it, it will take me to that note. So if it's a longer one or something like that, well, in theory, it'll take me a note. There we go. I would be able to get into all of it here, which some of them have random tables and things, so it's useful to actually go into it. So Santorini is kind of my like fantasy Las Vegas going on, and that is the city where the city crawl is. So if we click on that, it's going to take us to the map of Santorini. And so once you get this plugin, like there's a little bit of like paste the code type thing going on, enter some things, but once you get it up and running, it's actually pretty easy to use, and I am super into it. It has made my game running a lot easier, and I have been having a lot of fun with it. So anyway, I have the city. Let's see, can I zoom out farther? No, this is as far out as I can zoom with it, so I'll just have to drag it along. I have it divided up into districts, and then as you can see, if we zoom in, there are points of interest within said districts. So I made this image really big so that I could zoom in and it would still look good and not like crap. So yeah, you can see all that there. If I mouse over a district thing, it gives me a little bit of info about it. And then for the districts, I have the random encounter tables tied to districts. So what I did for that, okay, let me back up for a sec. So Dusky is my most developed district thus far, which isn't saying a lot. As you can see, there's not tons in the realm of points of interest here yet. But as the game goes on, I will be adding more and more points of interest. I do have a good few down in North Slum. There's some things happening there, and that one I think is fake, yeah. But yeah, that's mostly it. I do have some up, yeah, in the burrows. We just talked about that. As the game goes on, I will be adding more and more. If they want to travel between any 2 points in a district, they will roll for random encounters. So, and you could do this any way you want to roll for random encounters. In this game, what I'm doing is I am using something based off of something I read called the hunting dice, which I've not been able to find the blog lately, so I can't link to it. So I'm sorry about that, and I would love to give credit for it because it was a really fun idea. It was kind of based off the overloaded encounter dice, and I think I'll be refining the way I use it more and more as time goes on. But what I'm doing at the moment is when they first roll for a random encounter, they roll a d20. If it is a 1, 2, or 3, there's going to be a random encounter. And if there's not, we don't worry about it. So they can travel between any 2 points in a district by doing just that. When they go, they do have to decide if they want to roll or if they want to travel rather, by the streets or the alleys. And the reason for that is, well, there's, benefits for each. Like, going by the alleys, you're less likely to be seen by the guard, you keep things a little more secret, yada yada. Going by the streets, it's a bit more public, but you're less likely to run into, like, total ne'er-do-wells, right? So they make that decision. We roll the random encounter dice. If no encounter is targeted, or no encounter is triggered rather, they get to the next location and we can look at what's going on there. Even though there's not many locations here, a lot of them are complex. Like Black Tallows is actually a dungeon in this like kind of gang's clubhouse. Kata's Spice and Ship has some random tables to see who shows up there. Gladius and Net, I feel like I'm still kind of flushing out. I need more info there. They haven't been that interested in it yet, so I'm not too worried about it. Anyway, the next time they travel somewhere else in the city, like within a district, they again make the same decision. Are we going to go via the roads or the alleys? And we roll for random encounter again, but this time we roll a d12. And again, if it's a 1 or 3, an encounter triggers. If not, continue on like normal. So every time they roll for a random encounter, the dice size goes down to a minimum of a d4. And you can see as the dice get smaller, the chances of having a random encounter ramp up more and more. So on a d4, and you're triggering your encounter on a 1 and 3, you're kind of real lucky if you don't trigger an encounter. Even on a d6, you're getting one 50% of the time, right? And you could get one on a d20. It's just a lot less likely. So now if a random encounter is triggered, okay, so we're going to go to Dusky. I have the streets and the alleys tables, and there's not too many encounters on here now. And I think I'm okay with that because you can kind of see here every encounter I have has various kind of like sub-encounters. Like number 4, someone watches over the PCs. Roll a d4 to see who it is. Brick Street Scorcher, Son of a Ghostland, a Silver Light, a Wormling. So a lot of these are, well, all of these are kind of factions, right? This is a very faction-heavy game, which is very important to the advancement and everything else in the game. We're using Renown, but that's a whole nother conversation. And then the alleyways, we have different encounters that could happen. We have some goblins, we have some bandits, and yada yada. A finely dressed past person picked out drunk. They have on them roll d4. Nothing. It's an act. 2 thugs lurk nearby. They're a bandit. They are a bandit, as in the person. And I wrote this for myself. Don't judge me. A coin purse full of 3d20 GP, a ring of protection +1, an invite to the Festival Macabre in Inferno, which is another neighborhood full of tieflings. I don't know what that is yet, but if I rolled it, it would be really fun figuring that out. So yeah, even though like there's not many on here, like there's about 4 options for each of these, so there is over 20 for random encounters for the streets here, and same in the alleyways. So when a random encounter triggers though, I then roll a d4. On a 1, 2, or 3, I roll on the appropriate table here. Now I do have another encounter table. Do I know where it is? I do not. Sorry about this. So basically the other encounter table, which I should link to this note as well to make it easier for me to find, is personalized random encounters. Basically, since this is a very faction heavy game, they all have enemies. And so this other random encounter table, if I roll a 3 on that 1d4, a 4 on that 1d4 will trigger. And that is the, basically your past comes back to haunt you random encounter. I mean, it's not all enemies, but it's a living random encounter table that I change as the game goes on, and they make more enemies, and they do more things in the past that will come back to haunt them. So there's always a chance that it's like a random happening in town, or there's one that's tied more directly to them, like a faction they have angered, sent some people to get them, or one of the players recently had an encounter at a brothel, and it went rather well for them, and many rumors were spread. And so one of the options on that is the rumors not so much come back to haunt them, but it's it's not a dangerous encounter. It's just kind of funny, right? So that's how I have things going on this end, and I'm sure I will develop it more as it goes. At the very least, I am going to create more areas in the city itself, so that'll continually grow and more things will be available for players. Now on the player end of things though, because I want them to know about this city, I want them to have like some inkling of like, oh, what's the Gladius in net, right? Because it is amorphous and it's like they can travel to any point in a district, they need to know what the points are ahead of time. So this is my like convoluted ass way that I am getting the players this information. So InDesign is a layout program that we use to lay out all of our RPG stuff, right? It also is, well, not a, you can publish to the web with it. So I'm using this to get the information to the players. If we scroll in here, or like zoom in rather, you can see kind of like what we had on the map over there. Oh, I need to add that to the new map. But yeah, you can see a lot of like, well, not, you can pretty much see all of the things that are over there, over here. And so I have some layers hidden right now because this is what it looks like when I don't. It looks like a mess. But when I export that to the web so the players can deal with it, so they can interact with it, it looks like this, right? And so it's like a little bit of a clunky interface, but it's not too bad, right? Let's make this full screen. So yeah, zooming in there and you can see when we click on an area, it brings up a note of what it is, right? And if we zoom in farther, so we can get to like the small text, and we click on it, it brings it up as well. And so this gives them an idea of what's in a place, so they can decide if they want to go and explore or whatnot. And this is all like considered like, this is what the publicly available information about this place would be. And so if we look at, let's see here, if we go down into, nope, it's not Nomad Road, it's North Slum. If we go up into North Slum, right, you can see we got the boroughs and we have some places in the boroughs. The boroughs is a neighborhood of largely revolutionary gnomes, because I like the idea of revolutionary gnomes. And we look at that, and then we look at our web version. Whoops. Teehee. Okay, so those are listed on the web version, but I didn't mean them to be. But anyway, I'm going to re-export this without them there, because the players don't know about those places yet. So what I'm doing for that is I am hiding them in this document before I export it. And I'll be doing this with a lot of areas as I come up with more of them that they don't know about. And as they find out about them in their travels, I'll make them visible and I'll re-export to the web so that then they have an updated map to see it. And that should happen in just like a few minutes, right? Is this the best way to go about it? Maybe not. It's a little complicated, but it works for me, right? And I do appreciate that they can just like see what's in the city. They can, and you know, maps are fun. And I think maps are more fun when you can interact with them. And they're not going around the city blind, right? They know a little bit about its layout. It's not like they're exploring the vast wilderness where it'd be like, you see this hex and that's it, right? So yeah, that is, there we go. That is how I have this little thing set up. If anyone has any thoughts, definitely feel free to post them in the comments or hit reply wherever you found this, because it is something I'm refining as I go. If anyone has any ideas on how to smooth out the process, also cool to hear about. And I'll probably do another video at some point to check in more when I develop it. farther, and there are more places and stronger mechanics in place, because I'm sure it's only going to expand from here. But it's been a fun experiment, and I think the players are taking to it well, which is a good sign. We'll just see where it goes from here. All right, yeah. Let me know what you think.